Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Freedom Financial Podcast. I'm delighted today to have Linda Martin on. Linda Martin is a full-time property investor and developer, amongst lots of other things as well. She also holds masterclasses, runs a property event as well, and does coaching sessions. Linda, great to have you on the podcast today.
Thanks so much. Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, it's going to be good. Linda, I've known you now for a couple of years. I think we met kind of right at the beginning of lockdown. I don't know if you remember that, the SPIC event.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been kind of obviously following your journey since then, even prior to that as well. So it's been great to kind of see the progression. I suppose for those that don't know you at the moment, it'd be good to get a bit of background on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a development company, essentially flipping houses. And it mainly is residential projects that I work on. I have had a recent experience in the commercial development side of things, which was amazing. Loved that. Love to do more of that. But my bread and butter is renovating residential property. So we have a few projects on the go at the moment, and I've been doing this probably for close to 10 years now. And always busy. It's good.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then what made you pick property, and in particular doing property flips?
So I guess I have a background in property insurance. So I used to manage large insurance claims for insurance companies. So I guess I had a broad experience of the construction side of property and managing budgets and renovations and so on. And when I returned to the UK, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, other than I wanted to work for myself. And I figured I should probably look to what I knew best, which was property. And I figured that if I could renovate a house for an insurance company, I could do it myself. So, I did that, and I flipped a house and made a little bit of money on it. I thought the process was fairly straightforward. Although when I look back now, I probably think I didn't really know what I was doing. But gave it a try, loved it. I love the flexibility that it gave me. You know, I no longer had to report to anyone. I could schedule my own day the way I wanted to. And I guess because I did okay out of it, I thought I'll just do it again. And then things just really snowballed kind of from there on. And I sort of fast forward all these years down the track. And I guess I haven't looked back.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Picking kind of that as a strategy, you know, going into that full time, obviously must have been quite daunting as well. And with doing flips, it'll come in ebbs and flows, I'm sure, you know, where, you know, you'll make a profit from a deal and then, you know, we'll have nothing for long periods of time. You know, how have you managed that?
I mean, certainly that's what it was like in the beginning. But I intentionally took things slowly and didn't want to put lots of pressure on myself. And I guess I didn't know then what I know now, insofar as I probably have more pressure nowadays because I've scaled the business to the extent where we tend to work on about 10 flips in a year.
Okay.
But you know, going back to when I first started, I did things slowly. I didn't take a lot of risk. Yes, it was daunting, but I think so long as you apply some common sense and don't put pressure on yourself to maybe do a renovation too quickly. It's I think it was probably reasonably straightforward.
Yeah, good. And what made you pick doing flips over holding properties?
Well, I didn't initially, actually. I always thought that, because of what I had read about property investing, the fastest way to wealth was to have as many properties as possible and take the rental income from that. But what happened was, on the first project that I worked on, and when I said I maybe made, I think, £20,000, which a good profit by any means, and so that was my first one. And then I think for my second one, I did go down the buy to let strategy, but because I just made £20,000, when I then went down the buy-to-let path and I was cash flowing, say 200, can't remember exactly, £300 per month on one property, but I tied all my money up. I guess I'd experienced this nice sum of money versus very slowly being drip fed this cash flow. And I just felt that I preferred having, being able to crystallize my profits that you can do with flips and then roll it into the next one.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Well, doing buy to let, it's definitely a long process, isn't it? Especially if you're trying to replace your income with that. Okay. Well, I mean, so obviously doing the flips for yourself, you've obviously scaled the business up over time, which is fantastic to hear. And I know one of the things that you've done as well is kind of broken the ceiling price on a lot of your property sales. So what sort of stuff are you looking at when you're looking at a property, and especially just now in the current market where people are finding it very difficult to find properties to even hold, and never mind kind of make a profit on?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is very difficult, without doubt. And, I have experienced these difficulties as well. And when I look back over the past 6 to 12 months, I would say, the number of offers that I have made on properties and also been, have lost out or gone to closing date, and you find out that you're number 15 of 18 offers, it's not great. But I think that, as the market changes, obviously it will become easier again to secure property. But I think that, going back to your question, what do I do? I mean, my because I wouldn't say risk averse, but I'm very selective on the type of properties that I'll buy, and so I always buy in high demand areas.
Yeah.
Which again maybe is counter what we've just said in so far as or basically the fact that we've said it's hard to secure property. And yes, it is definitely hard to secure property, especially in the areas I want to buy in. When I've said I just want to buy in high demand areas, but I do believe that so long as you buy and sell in the same market, you won't lose out. So although it is very competitive just now, if you do a good quality renovation and then you sell in that same market, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And you've kind of mentioned before as well, you'll kind of happily pay over asking price or home report price if obviously it kind of fits your numbers as well. Often as investors, we're always kind of looking for that below market value deal, and if those aren't available, often it can be kind of years before people can buy a property. Just kind of waiting out for that one particular BMV deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this whole BMV, below market value, is a term that I hear bandied about a lot, and I think it portrays the wrong message to people who are investing in property, because a below market value opportunity, they come along very rarely, if at all, in this market, because it's so competitive. And who really would want to sell a property below market value unless you're in really dire circumstances or distressed circumstances? So yeah, I think that below market value has its place, but of all the properties that I've worked on and all the time I've been doing this, very seldomly have I been able to buy a property below market value. That's just the way it's been. And I also think that I guess the way that I like to run my business is that I like to be fair, and I like to, I think the best deal is a deal which is the best one for both parties. We're in an industry here where it is all about people, and I believe doing the right thing. And, I wouldn't want to, do the wrong thing by someone and give them far less for what a property is worth. I know that might be a little bit controversial in terms of, making as much money as possible on a flip, but that's just the way I run my business.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. It's got to be a win-win for both sides, doesn't it, ultimately?
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Yeah, no, great. And when you're pricing up a property flip deal, so how has that changed over time?
Yeah, it certainly has changed over the past 12 months, and just with material.
Oh, Linda, sorry, just pause there. Start that again. So if you could just answer that question again, please. Sorry.
Okay. So the question was, how have I experienced difficulties from a price pricing perspective over the past.
No, actually, well, I'll just rephrase that. Actually, sorry. So maybe just looking for some tips on how you sort of price a property deal when you're kind of going into one, and how does that change from when you first started to what you do now?
Yeah.
Is it sort of finger in the air? This is going to cost me sort of 20,000, or do you have somebody kind of price it up for you?
Yeah. So I price the projects myself, and I guess when I am looking at how much something will cost, that there are key things that I will look at, which I'll be guided before I've visited the property or before I've arranged a viewing, and I'll be guided by what the home report says. So I see the big ticket items being, a roof, a boiler, electrics, and whether there are any damp or structural issues. But in the main, that the give or take a few thousand, depending on the individual issues, if there are issues with a building. But most budgets or refurb costs fall around about that £25,000 for any job that I work on.
Yeah.
So I know that I have to have that. I either have to borrow that from the lender I'm working with, or have my own capital within the business to be able to use that on each project.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, that's fine. And in regards to the refurb then as well, how does that look for you? Because I know you've got a team now that you work with. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of guys that have been with me for a couple of years now. We there's been changes along the way, but yeah, we work quite closely together, and everyone I think enjoys their work, and we like to work together and have a little bit of fun along the way, and just really view everyone as a team player who has their own little piece to play in the whole refurbishment piece.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's been difficult for a lot of kind of clients that I speak to just now, trying to find, the sort of the trades team that they're looking for. So if you've got a good one and you treat them right, keep a hold of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I sometimes I'll give away the numbers of my tradesmen, but sometimes I like to keep them. Otherwise, they get too busy and they can't work for me.
Yeah, it's difficult from their point of view as well, because they're managing such a big workload as well. Everybody's kind of pulling them from pillar to post, and oftentimes there's many people out there that won't pay on time as well. So I think that's kind of a good bit of advice. Just kind of pay your tradesmen on time, really.
Oh, 100%. And I think I do feel for tradies out there, because especially the one man bands, because the pressures that they are under in terms of that they are available time. They have to run their own business, but they have to be good with the tools. They have to do the quote, and they have to go and pick up materials. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of moving to some bigger firms to work with for that very, very reason. I do appreciate and understand the issues that some of these tradesmen can be under. And there's so much work on at the moment. Everyone has been putting money into their properties, as we know, rather than going on holidays and so on, that type of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how has your business changed over COVID as well? Over the last 2 years, what sort of trends have you seen happen?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. I was just asked that by a surveyor this morning, actually, when he was coming out to do a valuation on a house that we're selling. And I think that after experiencing material shortages and as a result of COVID and price rises, and tradesmen that have maybe been off sick and so on, and continue to be sadly unwell because of COVID. It's meant that within the business, we have become exceptionally good at planning ahead and buying materials maybe earlier than what we might need, just so that we have everything available. So that has been beneficial, because it means that we're prepared, everything's on site. It means that we're not at the mercy of some of the price rises that there have been recently, or maybe not been affected as much as we could have been. So that's something that's changed. And I think having refurbished property through a lockdown period, it was probably one of the most challenging things to the business. It was very hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Interesting you said about kind of the price increases as well, and I suppose probably shortages as well, and we maybe continue to experience things. And when we're recording this is May 2022, with there's still lockdowns going on in China just now, which I imagine will have a knock-on effect to UK supplies for certain goods in the future. The war happening as well, I'm sure that will have an effect. So, how do you kind of preempt this? Is this kind of just kind of seeing what is kind of of shortage just now, and then sort of trying to stockpile that if you can?
Yes, where possible. Well, one of the things that I do now is that I rarely actually buy a great deal online. I
Yeah.
use local suppliers
Hmm.
because I think the local suppliers who are maybe not as reliant upon overseas imports, and if there are a lot of more British manufactured items, and they I think that the local guys seem to have more of a handle on the supply chain, and then I prefer using these guys, and rather than having to order something online and you have to wait for it, then it's delayed because it's coming from China. So it means that that the costs, I guess, probably have increased, but I do prefer keeping business local and using the local guys anyway, I have to
Yeah.
say. And that certainly has helped me.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I suppose with prices increasing, that'll be kind of eating into your profit margin. But are you finding, that's kind of with the properties kind of going over sort of the market value, that's helping with that? How have you
Yeah, I
found
guess,
that?
yeah, definitely. I think, whenever I run my numbers on whether I want to take on a project or not, I will never factor in, what I might get, what might be achievable in this
Okay.
rising market. It's very much a case of I will base the margins upon what the property will be realistically valued by the surveyor at the
Right.
time it comes to go on the market, which is generally, about at that 6-month period after I've purchased it. And so, yeah, I guess it has had an effect. The material shortages, price increases have an effect on your margins, but then it's offset by, getting a considerably higher amount at a closing date, or a brilliant offer when you come to sell. So I guess we can't have it every way. It's just what it
No.
is.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you kind of you view your numbers on sort of the home report value. So anything above that, then it's just a bonus, I take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, the property market has been crazy over the last couple of years, and because you're kind of in the midst of it, with selling your properties, what do you feel sort of driving that demand at the moment?
I think, fundamentally, supply and demand issues. We don't have enough houses for people.
Yeah.
And I think that, that situation was always there, notwithstanding, the pandemic. And I just think that what people are looking for as coming out of the pandemic has changed somewhat in terms of, I hear people saying that there definitely is that they're looking for more outdoor space, and would prefer, even if it's a flat versus a house, they prefer a garden, and so on. And obviously people don't need to be as close to the city as maybe what they used to prefer to be from a commuting perspective.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that that's why any sort of speculation on a housing crash, I think the prices might soften from an affordability point of view as a result of the banks tightening their lending criteria. But I still don't believe that the demand is going to shift at all, because people still need somewhere to live.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, maybe we might not see the sort of, the people kind of offering way over, but I can't see the values dropping by much, especially in the areas that we're investing. I mean, so you invest in kind of Dunfermline, is that right? When I'm based in Dundee, similar sort of market in regards to kind of property prices there. So I don't kind of feel that they're overinflated in regards to kind of even from affordability from a residential point of view just now anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And I still think that there is, people are, that there is money out there, and
Yeah.
people seem to be able to find the cash to offer above the home report. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think that any change in the market, it doesn't faze me personally, because I always think that there is opportunity everywhere, regardless of what stage the property cycle is at.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. There's always comes opportunity with that. So, talking about kind of different stages, then, obviously you've been through quite a lot, with investing for that period of time. Things like kind of the second home tax, that kind of changed your business, I'm sure, slightly. One thing that's kind of, definitely kind of on the radar just now is EPCs. Is that kind of affecting the way you're sort of investing at all, or with it not kind of having a huge impact on the residential market? Does that really kind of play a factor?
I think the short answer probably to that question is no.
Yeah.
I think if a property needs to be improved from an energy efficient point of view, I think I would tend to do it where possible, within reason, and in most cases, I would tend to replace all the windows and doors in a property, make sure it is insulated as best as possible, and I guess put in those measures or changes within a property refurbishment where I know you can economically improve the EPC rating. And I think more people seem to be taking more interest in what the EPC report is saying.
Yeah.
That EPC report that comes along with the home report, because I think it's fair to say that a lot of people in the past just haven't paid a great deal of attention to it. But I do see that, I have seen that more and more actually, when people are viewing the properties. Once I've worked on them to sell, I do like to do my own viewings. In most cases, I just like to hear what people have to say, and I believe that I'm probably the best person to sell the projects. And the questions are being asked about the various ratings and so on, and people didn't do that years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of probably on people's minds just now, especially with the rising cost of utilities as well.
Yeah,
So.
gosh, yeah, I know it's not ideal.
No, definitely not. Okay, so when you're refurbing a property, do you have kind of your sort of end client in mind? How do you kind of view your refurb?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris. So my market is the sort of sweet spot that I like to work in the market is your traditional sort of 3-bed family type home. So my target market is families, and so everything from a design, styling, refurbishing point of view, I will always have that family buyer in mind. I don't know if it's because I'm a mum myself and I seem to get it, but I always have that at the forefront of my mind when I'm making decisions on the refurbishment.
Yeah. Well, your properties visually, they're stunning, they look really nice. Did you have kind of experience of that prior when working in insurance, or is that just something that you've kind of tailored over time?
I think I probably tailored it. Yeah. I wouldn't. I'm saying I don't have any sort of formal interior design qualifications, anything like that. I'm probably a bit of a geek in that, I'll scroll Instagram and Pinterest and so on. But also I just like to keep on top of what people are buying and what is in, so that I know that my project will appeal to as many people as possible. So, whether I'm in the carpet shop or the tile shop, I will see what are people, or kitchens is a good example actually. I will always say to the person selling the kitchen, what's everyone buying? Is grey still in, or are we moving to a different colour? It's not what I want. I want to put something into property that I know will go down well with that family buyer.
Yeah. No, well, it definitely shows. You definitely got a flair for that. I think if that was me doing it, it'd probably just be plain white walls everywhere, I don't have any kind of design.
The reason I do that too, I use a lot of colour actually, but I do that because when people are scrolling through Rightmove looking for a property to buy, if all they're looking at is a white box with grey carpet, it doesn't really draw them in and get their attention. So I intentionally will use a bright colour piece of artwork, or paint a feature wall, put a nice light fitting in, or a mirror, something like mirrors. Mirrors are a good one, so you can bounce light around the room. And I'll do that so that it's eye-catching, because it's believed that people will buy a property within the first 30 seconds of seeing it.
Yeah.
So if you can grab their attention, I think, and get as many people to view that property as possible, it can only help but to increase, the price that you might get at the end when it comes to sale.
Yeah, amazing. And you've consistently broken the ceiling price on a lot of your properties. What sort of feedback have you got from your clients on, why they're willing to kind of pay over and above sort of the regular sort of, market for other types of properties?
Yeah, I think where I like to pitch my projects is that or position them, if that's the right word, is that I want to be competing with a show home that a new build, or a builder, whether it's your Taylor Wimpey, Bellway, Persimmon, are offering.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I like to give people the choice of either buy my property or a new build, because we know that when the big builders present their properties, they stage them and style them to look absolutely amazing, and that's what I do with mine as well. And I think that's is the main difference in what I do to maybe what other developers do. I've recognised that people will be, I guess, that they're more likely to offer a higher figure when they can see themselves living in it and it looks like a home.
Yeah.
And so by using soft furnishings, and as I said, the colour and so on, and creating a home that they can aspire to, I think has been one of the reasons why my business has been so successful.
Yeah. Okay. And how does that look like in regards to the refurb? What sort of level of work would you go to? So let's say if we kind of have an example of a 3-bedroom ex-local authority house that you got the keys to. Typically, what would you do to that type of property?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because for a lot of people, and certainly I look at some of the projects that I've worked on, perhaps a lick of paint, or just, I don't know, paint in the kitchen doors would maybe suffice. But I prefer to go the other way, and I like to rip the house out completely, possibly reconfigure it, take down an internal wall to improve the space for my family buyer, and do it that way. So yes, it does mean that the refurb costs might be higher than what they need to be. But as I say, I believe that you get the money when it comes to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, if nobody follows, if you don't follow Linda already, definitely kind of follow her online, and you'll get a kind of good idea of what she does and what projects look like at the end. So so to take it kind of, then it's pretty much ready for the kind of clients to move in. When they got the keys, apart from kind of finishing it themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you have a kind of cookie cutter approach when it comes to these properties, or is every property different?
Every property is different.
Yeah.
I think, I think that's probably been one of my main points of difference, actually, is to treat every project on its own merits, and choose, design it and be sympathetic to that individual property, rather than, the same kitchen or styling or same grey wall every time. I actually, sometimes I get a little bit, what's the word? Downhearted when I see what other people have done to properties, because I think that if that person had maybe been a little bit more creative and injected a bit more personality into their project and made it look like a home, they could probably achieve a higher result rather than applying that cookie cutter approach. But that's my just a bit of personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, it obviously kind of shows your passion, kind of shows through. And Jim's just said two great people in their respective fields. So, nice comment for you there. So I forgot my train of thought there. So expanding your business as well. You kind of talked about scaling up, which has been fantastic to kind of hear. And you've got a young family as well. How have you kind of come about, that idea of kind of scaling it up, and what sort of challenges have you come across over that time as well?
Okay, so when when I scaled to the level I'm at the moment, obviously I needed to have that infrastructure in place to allow me to do that and to support me or support the business with that. So I have office premises now, and I have people who work with me in the office and will help me on the project management side of things, in addition to just running the business aspect of things, the bill paying, the organising, the insurance, the writing to the council to claim the council tax exemption, all that admin stuff. I have help with, as well as obviously the ordering of the materials and so on. And then the trade side is obviously, another aspect of the business. But I guess, how do I manage that as a mum? As maybe a bit like yourself, as a working parent, you just have to be very good at being personally organised and doing the juggling, and kids and family come first. And I guess that one of the reasons I like to keep my projects fairly local to where I live is because often what I will do is, and I did it last night, was once the kids went to bed, I want to go and check on something. I could do that at 8 o'clock last night because it's only a 10-minute drive away. So a lot of the business decisions, I'm so grateful I can do this, but a lot of the business decisions I make are made around about my family situation.
Yeah, amazing to hear. And when we, because obviously your local area is Dunfermline and that's where you invest. What sort of fundamentals was, obviously you're kind of looking at it was kind of an ideal property investment area for you, but what sort of fundamentals was you looking at when you sort of picking that area, and have you ever invested further away as well?
Yeah, I did once invest further away, and I didn't follow any of the criteria I follow now, and it was a disastrous experience. It was a one-bed flat in Falkirk that I didn't know the area. I should never have bought it, and that's probably as far as I've been so far. But in terms of what I look for with my current projects, the first thing I really do is I will always, whenever if a property comes up that I'm interested in, the first thing I do is look and see how close a school is to that project.
Okay.
Because schools, nurseries, educational facilities will determine the house prices. And if you have a property which is close to a school or nursery that is looking a little bit tired or could do with a bit of an upgrade, I think you can never lose money on that type of property, because people will always, a family buyer anyway, will always buy a property that is within walking distance to a primary school or a high school.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, and even like these tired properties, a lot of sort of residential people won't want to buy a tired property because they might not have the funds to actually kind of refurb the property, or might not even be wanting to do the refurb. They'd much rather buy a property like you've got, Linda, where they can kind of move in from day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a market there for everybody. Yeah, okay. So kind of moving forward to kind of where you are just now, what's your current plans or future plans?
Yeah. I continue to throw that about in my own mind, actually. What next? What do I want to do next? So I did touch on the fact I've recently renovated a commercial property, changed that into serviced offices, and that's where I have my own little office too. And so
nice.
I enjoyed that experience, and it's a beautiful old building that I renovated. I'd like to do a bit more of that. And I have a few projects on the go at the moment, and I have a big one starting hopefully in the next 4 weeks or so, in a little bit further afield actually, but it's still within Fife, and that is a development of 6 houses.
Oh wow, okay, nice. Yeah, you're going to build them from the ground up? Yeah.
No, so they just all need to they need to feel the love. They need a little bit of TLC. They've been unoccupied for a while, and it's in a beautiful part of the East Nuke of Fife. And I will bring them back to life again, and I'll see what happens there. I'm really quite excited about that.
Interesting, yeah. So buying 6 at one time as well, you've kind of benefited from saving on the ADS there as well.
Well, actually, sorry, I say 6. It's 5, but I will convert the fifth one into 2.
Okay.
So, although I didn't pay full ADS, but I was able to claim one of the exemptions for multiple dwellings, which I think it meant that the bottom line was the additional 4% anyway. So yeah, it's just sadly there's nothing we can do about that tax, and we just have to wear it, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Well, and as you said earlier on, if you still make a profit at the end, it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah. And the commercial project, then how was that, compared to doing your residential
Yeah.
flips? And this one you're obviously holding as well.
Yeah, it was actually easier, Kessler, because
Okay.
in a commercial office, there's no bathroom, there's just a toilet, there's no kitchen, there's no cooking facilities. We just needed a dishwasher and a fridge, and decorated the office spaces. So yeah, that was really great. As I say, it's just there's something really nice about bringing an old building back to life. It's yeah, that's really rewarding.
Yeah, nice. And you got your own office in there as well, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, I do. I know. So no more working at my kitchen table. Yeah. That's good. I feel more organized.
Good. And also you're kind of helping other people as well, so you're offering masterclasses, you've run a property event as well in Edinburgh, and you're also doing coaching. So if you could kind of cover that a bit as well, please.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I often I'm contacted on Instagram, about people asking me for help, and how they can also do what I do. And so I thought that if I could share my knowledge with people as well, that would be a great thing to do. So I do some group coaching, some one-on-one coaching, and mentoring, and basically on how to flip a house and how to do it in such a way that you make best use of your budget, your time, and I guess don't stress yourself out too much in the process as well. So yeah, I do that, and yeah, that's great. I love it because I mean there is a lot of information online, or a lot of other paid courses you can do, but I think that if people are able to reach out to other people who are maybe a few steps further ahead of where they'd like to be, it's only a good thing. I know that, looking back to when I first started, there was no Facebook, there was no Pinterest, there was very little information available, and I just had to, give things a try and really learn by my mistakes. And I think it needn't be that way nowadays.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we're in the information age now, aren't we? There's so much information online, which is great, but at the same time, sometimes there's too much information. So it's nice having somebody like yourself that can kind of hold their hand and kind of walk them through the process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I still struggle with is the sheer choice of fittings, furnishings. It's enormous nowadays, and as you see, we've got access to absolutely everything, and sometimes too much choice is a bad thing.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Right, Linda, that's been great today, listening to you. I hope I'm sure all the listeners have really enjoyed that too. If somebody wants to connect with you or maybe work with you in the future, how can people follow you or connect with you online?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, love to do that. Anyone who wants to reach out, please do so. My hashtag on Instagram is at Linda Martin Property, and send me a DM, and yeah, we can chat that way.
Great. And you also run the property meetup in Edinburgh as well. So you want to do a quick plug on that as well?
Oh yeah, so our networking group in Edinburgh, first Wednesday of every month, the Scottish Property Podcast. It's at the Novotel, Hermiston Gate, and yeah, love to see some new faces along there too. And we will have guest speakers and people sharing their property journey, the property story, and yeah, that's a great night. So thanks for reminding me of that too.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't already, then definitely just kind of get along to that. Right, Linda, it's been a pleasure listening to you today. It's been very inspirational kind of watching you over the last couple of years as well. I'm looking forward to see where your journey progresses over time as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kessler. Yeah, it's been really fun to talk to you.
Excellent. Right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.